On January 26, 2001. The whole country was preparing for Republic Day. It was supposed to be a great day of celebrations for India and its people, but destiny had other plans. For many people in Gujarat, it would be their last. Republic Day is a national holiday in India. On Republic Day, armed forces and school children are participating in many ceremonies and parades across India to honor their country. The largest and most important of these parades is held at Rajpath in New Delhi, which showcases India's rich culture and military prowess. But the 2001 parade would be overshadowed by the tragic natural disaster that occurred in the state of Gujarat. At 8:46 a.m. local time, a major earthquake struck near the city of Bhuj, in the Kutch region of Gujarat, with an epicenter about 9 kilometers southwest of the village of Chobari. It was an intraplate earthquake that struck with an amplitude of 7.7 on the moment magnitude scale at 16 kilometers depth. Tremors were felt across eastern India and Sindh region in Pakistan, even destroying buildings as far as Hyderabad, mostly due poor construction quality and more lenient building codes. Its energy release, to put in perspective, released 1.5 times greater energy than the 2010 Haiti earthquake. The consequences in most affected areas were terrible. The worst damage was caused in eastern Kutch, in the vicinity of Bachau, which was almost completely destroyed. Kutch region was cut off from the rest of the country for more than 24 hours. The worst damage was concentrated in the city of Bhuj. Many multi-storied buildings collapsed, including the housing quarters at the Indian Air Force Base and the 8-story complex in Bhuj. The main hospital in the city was leveled, and so were many other medical facilities across Kutch. Many of the injured had to be flown to Mumbai and Pune for medical treatment. Significant damage also occurred in the two large cities, Surat and Ahmedabad. In Ahmedabad, the most populous city in Gujarat, nearly 85 multi-storied buildings collapsed, killing many hundreds. What is even more tragic is that school children were at school preparing for Republic Day parades when an earthquake struck, taking countless young lives. The earthquake had significant effects on public infrastructure. There was a major power failure, but the power grid restored its lines within 13 minutes, preventing a complete collapse of the western grid. Nearly 200 dams were damaged, and the water supply was disrupted in Kutch. Highways were still functional, but the Surabari Bridge suffered serious damage. Telecommunication networks were temporarily disrupted, but services were restored within a week. The earthquake also caused damage in the adjoining states of Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan in India and Sindh province, Pakistan. Tremors were felt strongly in Mumbai, Pune, and as far as Kolhapur, and to a limited extent in Hyderabad and Bangalore. The Indian Meteorology Department recorded more than 500 aftershocks of magnitude 3.0 and above. The strongest aftershock occurred on January 28, 2001, and was centered near Bachau. It had a magnitude of 5.8 and caused widespread panic in Gujarat. Many people were injured at Ahmedabad. In a 5.3 aftershock, they jumped from buildings in panic. Numerous historical landmarks were devastated by the earthquakes, some of which had existed since the 9th century AD. This includes the Aina Mahal Palace and Lakpachi's Chatardi in Bhuj city, along with several old temples nearby. While the Chatardi was entirely destroyed, the Aina Mahal Palace sustained severe damage but remained standing. Additionally, the Sun Temple in Kotai and Punvareshwar Temple in Manjal, both of which are among the oldest temples in the area, were also destroyed. 1 month after the earthquake, the official Government of India figures placed the death toll at 19,727 and the number of injured at 166,000. It is estimated that 600,000 people were left homeless, with 348,000 houses destroyed and an additional 844,000 damaged. The earthquake affected, directly or indirectly, 15.9 million people out of a total population of 37.8 million at that time. The earthquake caused severe damage to the economy and infrastructure in the affected area, with some estimates indicating losses as high as $5 billion. The Bhuj earthquake caused massive devastation to high-rise buildings in the region, with many collapsing due to poor construction and detailing. Soft stories and low-grade concrete exacerbated the problem, leading to widespread failures. But it wasn't just tall structures that suffered. Small villages with 1- or 2-story masonry buildings also experienced extensive damage. The traditional mud mortar used to hold the stones together was no match for the powerful earthquake, causing roofs to collapse and walls to crumble. In some cases, the structural designs didn't account for the full force of the quake, leading to critical elements becoming overloaded. However, aid and government grants were put to good use to help the affected people. 4 months after the earthquake, the government of Gujarat announced the Gujarat Earthquake Reconstruction and Rehabilitation Policy, which proposed a different approach to urban and rural construction, with the estimated cost of rebuilding to be $1.77 billion, aiming to help more than 300,000 families. The main objectives of the policy included repairing, building, and strengthening houses and public buildings, but also included the revival of the economy, health support, and reconstruction of the community and social infrastructure. Shocked and traumatized, residents lived in temporary accommodation for months. In the first 2 years after the quake, nearly all the damaged villages were rebuilt. By 2003, 882,896, 94% houses were repaired, and 113,271, 53%, were reconstructed. The government had also announced a $2.5 million package to revive small and medium industries. The World Bank and the Asian Development Bank also provided loans worth $300 million and $500 million, respectively, to support the rebuilding efforts. Overall, the Bhuj earthquake of 2001 was a tragic event that caused significant loss of life and damage to the region's infrastructure and economy. However, the response of the government and international organizations was commendable, with aid and grants being put to good use to rebuild the affected communities and support the affected people. Stay tuned by subscribing to QuakeStorm.